Awesome. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the one and only Miss Crystal on the platform. We all know her from singing so very well in different places, shall we say. And she is really an actress as well. But definitely today, she is entirely serious about Monday motivation with clarity. And I want to just welcome you to the show. How are you today, Miss Crystal?
Well, welcome. I should say, thank you for welcoming to your show, and I'm doing fine. And you are welcome for just saying thank you and all of that wonderful stuff as you do. I listen to you. It's like, oh my goodness, it sounds so exciting just to be interviewed and waiting for your show to begin. So thank you for.
Absolutely. You're so welcome.
Mhm.
And I know you've been traveling lately. So, what is that like? Since one of the podcasts you shared that you love to travel and you've been traveling.
Well, it has been totally, well, I should say, mind boggling at one point because I was laying here and I was trying to think, is my mind clear? What am I doing? My mind was just seemingly going. Is it going to stop on something? So, I think your mind is to racing away with all the thoughts that it has collected and all the visions that it has seen. And I had to really like, oh my God, I'm recovering. It's been like, this is the week two
Mm-hmm.
of being back in my own room. And it's like, wow, sleeping, and, really processing. So I'm ready to come out with a rah.
That's funny. Yeah. So yeah, like you're talking about jet lag, and at the same time, you've been traveling for months on end and participating in various events. You're grassroots, what shall we say, grassroots type of person, and for many years, along with being just so fantastic in the music department over 50 years now, that it is a testament that you deserve some rest, some R&R, and that way you can refuel and get back to work. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for thinking out and say looking out for me.
Amen.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
a task, Michelle. The many years that we've put things together and just working in community and kind of like depending on community to come on and get with the program. It's just a lot that you really attest to. So I'm thankful, and I sat there yesterday and I just kept on just telling the Lord, thank you, just thank you, just thank you, thank you. Thank you that you let me travel. Thank you that you let me return. Thank you that you let me see this. And thank you that, because there's so much more to it. I didn't just go and stay for almost 3 months. I was truly on an adventure, a journey, a historical one at the same time, an ancestral one. It
Mhm.
was something to me that you would read in a book of somebody's study, somebody's scientific journal and study of life here, in America.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really that kind of a thing that I pull away when I see what I pull out of it, experiencing it. Yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful. So, do you plan on writing a book?
Well, much more than to me a book. It's a movie. It's a television series actually, because it's not just one 30 minute, one 20 minute, 1 hour. It's a continuum of verses and things. So a book to me would eh, it's like a script. It would give you a script I would put more into acting it out on stage so people could see it, feel it, and really get a chance to live through it on that level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got you. Nice. I got you. So you're looking to do more um, traveling?
I was thinking of that as, even as soon as next week or maybe after my birthday on the 18th. But then it's like, no, no, you be still. You don't do it. You let people come to you and you build it as they say, and they will come. So give them a reason to come here now, because this is the travel place. Everybody wants to come to Vegas. So
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm back here, build it up. I'm back with Catherine Duncan, and she's had her health challenges and things. So it's like we've got to take every opportunity and advantage of our time to really put these things together, close these gaps.
Absolutely.
This brother Willie Davis, in the book Closing the Gap, that close these gaps here and get these people paid, get this money flowing in the communities and in the programs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really something now. And it's been something, and we keep waiting for things to change. You know, it's like, look, we are the change. We got to get out here and do it, as I say, for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's no more. I mean, as you see the cuts that have happened, even expect that.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, it's a wake up call because truth is being revealed. It's revelations and all the things that we do and have done. It's all coming to the light. It's coming to see what is our works are being proved.
Mm-hmm.
Proved, you know. And so it's a real serious time. So our availability to really be leaders in this point in time is really necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the communication, what do you think about the communication that we need in order for that to transpire?
Well, we were just on a Zoom moments before, and that was one of the key words, communication. And I said daily, 24/7, communication needs to be going on
Mm-hmm.
because we have people in other countries, so we can get all types of information
Mm-hmm.
and broadcast and inform people and really give them the knowledge of the truth of what it is that they need to do and what's available and the ins and outs. So I was saying very much 24/7 communication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, radio, put it out there.
Absolutely. And you were very clear about talking about the show, including clarity. And why is that?
Because that's the thing now that, like I said, revelation. It's being seen. We're being seen. Everything is being seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's front and center, lined up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like lights, camera, action. So when the light's on you, you better show out. You better do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is what it is. Lights, camera, action is on us. Universal talk, universal language. And it's lining up with our habits. What are our things? What do we really do?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see the beauty of our talent and gifts really shine.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like never before, I feel you will be able to witness just, the pouring out of just the talent and the gifts and the abilities of the people, the youth from the other countries all around. we'll be able to see it. So we're gearing up to present ours, present our best. You
Hmm.
know, we're over here all these years. Let's train these children up. Let's, like we did over there in Watts Imperial Courts. You work with those children on that play, Annie.
Yes, indeed. Amen.
So we do that. We get a play that we write or that we've written. Get something that we put together. And it seemed like somebody was just telling me about something that they put together. Oh my goodness! So it's a it's an opportunity now, especially with the AI and the Chat GPT, as you are very familiar with, to put a scripted, manual together, and give people the blueprint of what to do for 24/7. Almost tell them what to say, and you get the results that you're looking for, and they will too.
And then the blueprint. And so you're saying that because of AI has been has influenced people, or you want to create a program or some type of organization to help people to figure out what they can do next based on their skills because so many jobs are becoming obsolete, or where did that statement come from?
Well, let's say thank you for asking, and perhaps I'm glad you asked. But that's wonderful. You are that person that goes in there deeper. As she said, go for the juggler.
You say go for clarity.
Yes, yes, and that's really where it is. We should, clearing out all the mucky muck conversation and bringing in the reality, as you said, the boots on the ground, the
Hmm.
roots of the matter. Is what are we made of,
Hmm.
and so this is what we're made of. Getting down to who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Hmm.
And when that's not present, then we have an issue. And it's not just where we're just taking any and everything. We're taking that which we know is right for us. It's just what it's supposed to be. It's no questions asked. It's just because that's how it goes. It's divine order, and
Hmm.
it's timing, it's perfect will, it's perfect place and perfect peace,
Hmm.
perfect works.
And that's what I was just thinking. This may be just really great, grandiose in a therapeutic manner in which anyone that tunes in or tunes in at any point in time may think that it is general statements, or they missed something in the beginning that we were talking about specifically. But sometimes I think when people like yourself are speaking philosophical, spiritually referencing spiritual, um, shall we say, circumstances or situations, I think this is where you do gain clarity because you get a chance to relax. You relax your brain and you get a chance to think about what is it that's important to yourself. And you also get a chance to, hear that other people are, needing that time frame to just communicate, like they say, commune. And it's a verb because otherwise there's so much information that's thrown at people, absolutely, to the point where, um, amen. You just never know what's taking place, just like in my computer, just like it went blank at the time. So sometimes that's what happens, when you're talking about, um, you know, whether it's a spiritual being or talking about God, or what you're talking about something that's important to yourself that's not necessarily materialistic.
Well, right now, you know, and speaking of the universe and us aligning and us being called really to be in place to do the certain things that must be done, that's very spiritual, and that's very much where we are. That is the awakening, and that is the crux of what's happening. People are not, it's like we're throwing off the old ways, old mindset, and we're putting on, you know, throwing our hands up and allowing the other jacket, garment to be put on us. As they say, put on the garment of praise for heaviness, for the spirit of heaviness.
Mm.
So when you surrender and you submit, you throw your hands up. I give up. So a lot of things is over. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So I'm done. So you lift your hands. Hey, praise the Lord.
Mm.
Yeah, here I am. Y'all can take me out of this. Here I'm done. Here, you lift your hands, and
Mhm.
that's a signal of exchange.
Mhm.
Yes, may I help you? So we now come to the point. Now we exchanged some things, some habits, some thoughts, some ways, and um, you know, feelings. And
Mm.
so now it's a different approach to the things, and see, in the shifting of it all, people are not even in place as they were. I mean, literally, people are not in the same place that they were.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can call somebody and turn around and call the same number again, and that same person is not there to answer the phone. Somebody else is there to answer the phone.
Mm.
Different scenario now, because what you needed, that person wasn't the one to give it to you. But now, so the shifting that has occurred, is creating a space. It's allowing a space for you.
Mhm.
And I've read something in the transportation Union Station there at DC.
Mhm.
Love those Union stations. A Philip Randolph, or A William, yeah, yeah, A Philip Randolph,
Mhm.
and he was saying, about taking it, whatever it is, you gotta hold on to it. We can't, gotta come together and take it. Um, and I mean, I need to have it to read, because there was this whole clause, whole statement with the thing, taking it, taking the chance, taking the seat, taking the position, you know. And so that means you got to know when it's vacant and what's coming.
When you
And
say the position of what?
whatsoever you are seeking to fulfill.
Mm-hmm. Because some people, they say, yeah, play your position, or do you know your position? And then some people say, to stand on business about your position. So absolutely. And I understand at this time frame, it is a good time because you're talking from the perspective too. You're about to have a birthday this month. Happy early birthday. I'm sure some of this has got to be coming from that too.
Look at you, look at you. Yeah, 65,
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
whole nother wisdom. It's a whole nother level. And I really have been reminding myself and others, I'm 65 this year. You understand what
Amazing.
I have something to say.
Mm.
I have an opinion here because I've seen a lot.
Right. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
you're making sure you see a lot by traveling.
That's really something. You're so quite amazing. And one of my friends said, you know, you're wealthy. I'm like, huh? He says, you're wealthy. You travel. You travel. You're wealthy.
Hmm.
Most people can't travel like that. And I sat there and I thought about, I'm wealthy because I could travel. I'm like, wow. There's another way to look at wealth.
Right.
And then, even my sons my son and his girl was saying something about, Mom, you get a chance to travel and be out where most people your age are just sitting somewhere or, working or something. They wish they could get out and do what you do, and you just go and stay and just.
Absolutely,
I'm like,
absolutely.
yeah, but I guess I think I've always been somewhat like this, but this has been very purposeful. This trip was, well, like I said, it was almost 3 months.
Mhm,
Very purposeful from Las Vegas to Orangeburg, South Carolina, April the 2nd. I traveled. And when that summit on nonviolence was
mhm,
over, after about 3 days, I didn't want to go home. I didn't
mhm,
want to go back to the West Coast. I'm like, dang, I'm all the way over here,
mhm,
down south, but I don't want to, I don't want to have to turn around and go all the way back. And so I
mhm.
did it. I thought, I'm like, who do I? Oh, Dr. Turner, Dr. Turner. So I called Dr. Turner.
Mhm.
What's that? My friend,
Yeah.
Peggy Turner.
Amen.
So I went and stopped in with her for a few days in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Mhm,
And then from there, I went on into Richmond, Virginia. There was something going on, I believe, at the college.
uh-huh.
So I went on into Richmond. And then from there, I think I went back to Charlotte. And then from Charlotte, I went to Baltimore. I called Karen.
Mhm,
Told her I was, in Charlotte and everything. So I came on up to Baltimore, stayed with her, and we basically, I don't know, it was spiritual. This whole thing, it was just very spiritual.
mhm,
So just, I did some things, more things in Baltimore this time than I ever did. I sang.
mhm,
I went to this African Liberation Day at the park and witnessed a lot of talented people, and got more information, on us, our ancestral, beginnings and everything, the power of the female, the woman, the womb. And
mhm,
so just just a whole thing of acceptance, spiritual knowledge and wisdom of who we are and the way we really are supposed to do what we do, our meditation, our prayers, and just the whole divine order. So, just having all of that time and then being there where all the slave trails are and slave ports and stories and what took place here, what war, and
mm,
just all of that um resonated with me. So I wound up actually being a caregiver for an 86-year-old man. Our friend's dad had just come out of the hospital and they needed somebody to be with him, until he gained his strength back. So I stayed there for like 3 weeks.
mhm,
And, within that time, I was there in Baltimore. So I would go to the store. I would walk, it was about a 20-minute walk up
mhm,
and a 20-minute walk back. And,
mhm,
the big tall trees and the
mhm.
green, and sometimes it's raining. And, it was just an
Wow.
experience. And so I'm walking and I'm thinking about those old slaves, and I'm feeling some kind of way, and then I'm singing, and it's hot, and I'm feeling, just, like as if I was there, or I was, at that time walking through, where I am.
Mhm,
So just having all of that type of experience and praying and kind of weeping, it just really puts you in a place of, I'm here to help. I'm here to be used. I'm here to help bring balance, to our people. And, not only that, we got to bring prosperity. We got to bring the wealth to our people. We got to really teach,
Mhm.
what we talk about financial literacy and whatever that really is. We really got to teach it to the point where people know how to monetize anything, you know, because it's too much money that has been um, left on the table with these deals when it pertains to artists and talent and smart people, and they didn't put them in the grant, they didn't write them in, you know what I mean? It's, people are not getting their portion. And so now we've got to go back and we've got to talk to the people and say, hey, wait a minute, you've got all these talented young people here and older people there, and we want to bring it all together, and we want to create some scholarships, we want to create some care boxes, we want to do some things that we can provide resources and resource for information. And it's so simple now, as we know, to take it back to the church, take it back to the community, the fish sales, the bake sales, lemonade stands. We've
Mhm.
got to take it back to the old ways of how we made a dollar, because we get stuck waiting on grants or waiting on somebody to give us something or waiting on somebody to invest. And we don't realize that we're wasting our precious time,
Right.
and the work is not being done because we're waiting on the money to do it, and the people are still fighting and dying and going through. So we now just have to start showing up in the places where we know, which is generally the projects. We call them the PHAs, public housing authorities, and being what they need, meaning mentors and books and
Mhm.
clothes, food, jobs. Some of them need housing. They're over there, but they need a place to be. So we got to connect. And I know that's long old talk, but we're challenged to do it everywhere now, like Vegas, Los Angeles, Richmond, Baltimore, DC. I visited a lot of the places. I just know that everybody's willing, but it's just somebody's got to begin it. Somebody got to start it.
So you looking at, it sounds like some type of interconnectedness communication highway. So because you've been traveling to different places, it sounds as if it's the same issue.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Poverty is everywhere. Sickness is everywhere. Homelessness is everywhere. Drugs are everywhere. Alcoholism is everywhere. Mental health is everywhere.
Right.
So that's the true reality. And then you just know that it's just an opportunity to come together and get it done. So that's all I can say.
Right now, that's all you can say right now. I would like to ask you, while you were on the train or a plane or a bus or in an Uber, did you start to jot down some things that you would like to see to accomplish, or shall we say, solve this catastrophic situation called lack of communication in order to complete things that are necessary to help people so that way the same stigmatisms don't continue.
Yeah, I saw the need, which I've seen it now for the past few years, for press release, press conference, press release. We need to be actively bringing, engaging the press to tell our story. So it
Mm-hmm.
could be on the Times cover, or, the Sentinel or Hollywood Variety. It needs to be there. People need to hear what we're talking about. And I mean, I guess we have to make it exciting, but I think it just has to come out now.
Hmm.
Doing a press release, making it a press case, making an announcement. You have to announce yourself to the public. So make your announcements, make your declarations, make your demands, whatever it is declares that you're, declaring and demanding, and whatever you speaking and standing on, make it clear.
And so part of that, making it clear for many people, is how do they get the assistance? How do they get the help? Is one thing to actually post those announcements, and it's another thing to really get the resources or get the assistance that they want. Like, say, for instance, shout out to Joey Davis Sr., who was on the podcast not long ago with the Made and Count the Store. He's a great supporter of the Made and Count the Store. And he came there on his way to a meeting. He's been, he goes to different various events. And one of the things that he wants from the city of Compton is a key for his son, who's a Hall of Famer in wrestling. And so he sees this podcasting just as well as you, to share, or go utilize the media to share the word, his plight that he's been working on for many years. And it's one of those testaments. He shared that on one of uh, the podcast, that we need people that are in powerful positions to assist, assist, I'm sure, to help him with the city, a key from the city of Compton. Absolutely. So, his son has 133 wins to 0 losses. That's phenomenal. And he grew up in Compton, attended elementary, junior high school. He didn't attend Compton High School because they didn't have a wrestling program at the time. So that's just an example. One person that comes to somebody, somebody you introduced me to, and I just happen to work in an area that he resides. And what do you think about that? Here's somebody that's reaching out to communicate his plight. He goes a step beyond, and he gets a chance to get on a podcast, as being a supporter of the customer, the Made in Copter store. And the one thing that I was able to do is to shine more, or shed more light on the situation by, it's called card stacking, sharing with the community what things that his son has done, and share the videos, the plethora of videos and pictures that his father shared with me, so that way it could further share the reason why he would like his son to ascertain a key to the city of Compton. So, what is your spin on that? Like, what do you think the next thing he can do, outside of the fact that, of course, he knows the politicians in the city of Compton, and this is just somebody that's an example of wanting to get the word out and do something great, and as a parent as well, to get recognition for his child that he feels is deserving, especially due to the fact that this is what has been going on traditionally. Usually stars or people in Hall of Fame, they get acknowledged. That his son hasn't been acknowledged yet. So, what do you think about that, based on the fact that this is what we're talking about?
Well,
Monday motivation, clarity.
I would say keep doing the work, because it's really the work of a politician that you're doing. You have to keep politicking in the sense. So keep doing the work, and then aligning with meeting the needs of Compton,
Mhm.
because Compton still has a lot of brokenness.
Mhm.
And for this time, that young man being able to step into the arena of Compton,
Mhm.
into the ring of Compton, what it is now,
Mhm.
and represent what it needs to be and make it happen.
Mhm.
We're talking communication, we're talking brokenness, we're talking, finances, literacy, financial abilities in our communities. We're talking, you know, talking Compton.
Mhm.
So we can see when we continue to do the work of a crusader, then it almost like it meets us at the door.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? The award meets you because there's a plentiful work now because of this new administration.
Mm.
So when you do the work of a politician, you never stop, as he does. He never stops working and talking about his son's accolades.
Mhm.
Now I'm saying, put the campaign, the team together that gets out there and handles all the problems
Mhm.
that Compton has. One is communication, two is funds for some of the things that need to get done. As we know that they'll tell you about the potholes in the street. You
Mhm.
know? So bring some light to the table right now because it's dark. People need establishment of new money. Where's my next money, shipload of money coming from? What's the new money maker right now?
Mhm.
We need to know where the money's coming from. And if we can't bring no money, we better line ourselves with where it's coming from and make sure it gets some directions that we can, be at. Because it's money, and it's power controlling, controlling it. Who's controlling it? Who has directions on where money's going?
Mhm.
Whose decisions are being? Who's making it? So
Right.
that's my words.
Mhm. I see. And so if you were to be able to write something, you would write you're saying you would write a PSA, or would you be able to talk to people, or what would you do if you were in position to assist, like say if it was a music artist and they wanted a key to it, the city, a city.
Yeah, I think you keep building the portfolio.
Mhm.
Keep building the portfolio, because one thing about it, I'm 65
Mhm.
and I was crowned Mrs. Black California in 1991.
Mm. Wow.
So for me to still be working at engaging the community and connecting the community and helping to fund underserved with teaching them how to, monetize their gifts and talents and on, I'm still working.
Right.
I'm still, doing, political correct work, because the whole thing is we got to build up the underserved
Mhm.
in America.
Mhm.
They've got to be responsible now.
Hmm. You remember back in the day, they used to have a ombudsman, or they may still have one for people that are in the military. And when they move to a different location, like a base housing, then they're able to utilize that number to help them to acclimate themselves from wherever they move from, so they can get resources for where location for a church or the nearest grocery stores or the places that you can go to have if you have small children for daycare, that type of thing. You can just call almost for anything. And now we have, of course, the internet, Google, and now we have AI, and then we living in a world of international, or shall we say, the interconnectedness of um, communication, like we were talking about, interconnected highway of communication in this era that we're living through. Um, so this renaissance is actually creating a new, what you're sharing. It sounds like an opportunity to find your niche, your new niche. And like they say, based on some jobs becoming obsolete and so forth, it is a time for people to create something that they can do or ascertain those skills and talents that they have and that they may not be utilizing in the current position that they're in.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Time frame change, it's
mm-hmm,
almost like switching of the roles. It's a switch. Everything
mm-hmm.
is changing. It's changing partners, changing roles, changing. Oh, it's this way now. Oh, it's not that way. Oh, it's this way. Okay, um, it's a lot. It's just like wow. Everything like stopped.
That's true.
The
Yeah.
music stopped, and
Mhm.
now, excuse me. This is my place right now. I have this dance. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Excuse me. It's a, it's a whole new thing right now, and you have to be that creative and that strong and sincere to know what you're taking. It's like, no, this right here is mine.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that type of thing. It's almost like where they were finding their land and putting their white flags out there, staking out, this is my land. I decree that this is my land right here.
Mhm.
And be like, oh, okay, So
Wow.
we are now discovering, what is ours,
Mhm.
what is mine, what's rightfully mine.
Right.
So I look at my body. That's our real estate. That's our first piece of real estate. And they said that's the quickest way to get wealth your is obtaining real estate. And that's you, your body, your real estate.
Mhm. Wow. And it's something you said that, so I looked up this information because this past week I've been seeing butterflies. Sometimes you go a long time without seeing a butterfly. So I've seen white butterflies, and today I'm rushing to get to do the podcast with you, and I see an orange butterfly. I haven't seen like they said, a monarch, right?
Mm.
In years. So it's like it was a big deal, and it seemed like it got my attention. And I didn't know that you were going to speak on what you were speaking on. I didn't even know what the podcast was going to be about. But of course, I knew we can get it done. Absolutely. So let me say that the orange monarch butterfly carries significant spiritual symbolism, often representing transformation, change, and rebirth, according to reading from this AI definition, due to its life cycle from egg to caterpillar to butterfly. It's also seen as a symbol of strength, joy, and new beginnings, with some believing it represents the souls of ancestors visiting loved ones. Additionally, the orange color is linked to the sacral chakra, signifying inner wisdom, pleasure, and creativity. And then I said, well, what is the sacral chakra? What is that one about? Right? And I found it to say that one, it is it has a definition here. This, and first of all, the chakras, according to yoga tradition, are the seven energy centers that go down the center line of the body. When balanced, our chi or life force energy flows. Oh, there's your word. Flows properly through the body. When these centers become blocked, it can take a toll on our emotional and physical health. The second chakra, called, I believe that Sabhisthana, is associated, if it's not, I'm sorry, is associated with the color orange and is located at the lower belly and inner pelvis. And it translates one's own abode, says a yoga teacher, Stephanie Snyder. Absolutely. And this is really neat to learn, how we can actually help heal ourselves. Sometimes they say, in different facets, just based on, like you said, the emotional mm, communication, and having the opportunity to share your talents. And when you don't share those talents or get a chance to operate in those realms, it seems like that's what it does, block people, and then they become upset, they become sick, they, those type of things. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's right.
Mm,
I
mm,
saw an orange monarch today. Mm.
yeah, huge.
Well, that's beautiful,
Absolutely.
beautiful, beautiful. So
Yeah.
we just take it all in stride of, this new universal ride that we can't hide.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And then so like, and what you just shared and the energy that you just used, that's pretty much where we've been. Like at the top of the show, that's what you were talking about. Pretty much getting people to, you know, um, rid the, not necessarily negativity, but just rid, like something else said, rid the clutter that's going on. And I said maybe that's why I've been shredding things and organizing my, papers and books and from years, notebooks and everything. Um, just organizing, because it does make you feel better, and you're able to welcome new things, and actually, uh, shall we say, complete things that you want to complete. And it gives you opportunity to focus on something new, versus, oh no, I still have to do that. So a form of procrastination, absolutely, as well. But so yeah, this is like go time. It's not really a time to really just stride through. Of course, we're learning along the way, but when you said stride through, are you saying just pretty much, would you agree that it kind of means like, welcome what's happening new in the world, and this renaissance that we're living through, but at the same time, get going doing the things that you want to do. And again, that's a reflection of you're looking at like, wow, it's going to be 65 this month. Well, actually, in 10 days.
Hmm.
Yeah.
10, 11, yeah, 10 and a half.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yes, honey, yes. As you
Like
can tell,
18. Okay.
yeah, I have laid myself down. It's like I'm up early
Mm-hmm.
and I go to bed a little early now because you know your body now, like I said, is 65. I've traveled now. Relax.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I share. I do what I do, and I thank you for receiving as you do, and for your platform, and just being able to help somebody is a big deal.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's also being an active listening ear, because so many times people are not listening to you. They are just operating around you, they are, working through you because they are looking forward to accomplishing their goals as well. At the same time, they're overwhelmed possibly about the things that they're going through, and at the time frame is simple to and easier to just operate in a distant manner instead of actually like what we're doing here today is carving out time, making it make sense, and at the same time, you're anybody else that hears a podcast, they have to feel some type of therapeutic minds. They have some type of therapeutic mindset because it's at that time frame. Other people that may not care for the philosophical or the theological information or the spiritual information at this time frame. It's just that they're not there right now. Maybe it'll take when they're older, where they will be able to receive it more so, because you could be living fast, you could be living slow, or you could be living through you're learning some more information, because right now it is definitely the time to narrow down and what they say, buckle down and figure out some information.
Mm.
Because if you're in a position where your livelihood is, you know, um, looked at as a challenge because there's a robot that's possibly about to take over your job, because it is real. First, it was talk. Now it's seeing is believing. They even have whole restaurants that's operating with robots only. Of course, you have a few humans that do certain things and what have you, but for the most part, I mean, there's even diesels on the road driving
No,
themselves. Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
she said,
So
"Oh, absolutely."
absolutely, just like the Ubers that can come and pick you up, it doesn't have to be a person in there anymore.
Oh wow.
Just like the delivery carts that deliver food downtown, you know, they don't have to have anybody pushing this cart. So it's a means to figure out who is getting the food, who is, paying or leaving a tip or anything. They have it, like you were saying, they can see that type of thing. So it is the matter of how people utilize that position too. And that goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the show. Notice I'm just trying to wrap it up. Go back and talk about what was already said. And it just it's unfortunate that some people take advantage of their position and they like to play with their position and at the expense of other people. And there's other um, instances where people are doing a grandiose job by explaining to people to help them to better adjust to the changes,
Yeah.
you know. And it's unfortunate some people, they don't realize that it needs to be more of a linear time frame of communication more than ever, because for so many years and decades, if you will, that's redundant, but that has been top down. Oh, okay, I have the power of this button. You know, I have the power to, pay you this, or I have the power to do that. But then when they're not in that position and they're somewhere else and somebody else is in that position, they don't operate the same way. So now it's a time frame, like you said, everywhere there's lights on the corner where you go to, uh, get gas. When you go to the grocery store, it's everywhere. I mean, type of thing. They have satellites. You don't even have to see a camera somewhere, and they can see you. I mean, and now they're showing you there's other type of technology where they can see through the walls and so forth. So then it just makes the people that have played those unfortunate power plays, because they've been in a, they're sitting in a desk in a position where they could just push a button, and on the other end the person's not knowing, is unknowing to what you're doing. And then when that time happens, when they're under that scrutiny, they're not going to know how to handle that. So in the meantime, that seems like for the people that's out there that's into communications and mental health and so forth, those are the people that need assistance now, right now, because they know that it's something right now, kind of like subliminal, but and it's cruel, some people, because they're not using it for the wise. They're not, you know, and that's what a lot of people have been apprehensive about, for is the robots and so forth, because they think, so many people use it for malice, and it's so unfortunate. But then there's other people like myself. Let me learn about something that I can help people with in this technology, whether it's coding or something like that. I'm gonna be the first one to do that, just like I did when people need to learn about editing. If I was at the Dollar Tree store, the 99-cent store, some of these stores that don't exist different places, I popped open my laptop and I showed them, press these two buttons and this will happen. You need to do this, then this is all you need to do. They didn't have to go travel and sit in a long line at the Apple store or anything. No, I know this part. Well, let me show you that. Just like that. And it wasn't, $100 fee or anything like that. Just to show you somebody something that they were talking about in the store.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So, but we need more of that to help other people, because just as well as this technology is working fast, and what you're saying,
Yep.
we can actually, speed that up.
Yep.
Because before it was so much, like you got to go make an appointment. You got to, get on somebody's calendar. You got to, make space. But now, we can do so much online.
Yep. Push
Mm-hmm.
a button, click.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let me just show you how to do this. So then that way you can get this part out the way, you know. And then there's so many things that you can choose, so many different apps now and so forth. So it's like what works best for you, because I know some people that are really um, astute with the technology that they use. Then you turn around and listen to them again in 2 weeks. They're showing, no, these are the five things that you should listen, utilize. These are the five go-to things, and they're getting paid, maybe $200,000 a year or something, just to give advice as such. But it changes for them too, because they're not actually creating the robots.
Mm.
They're learning about the robots and then imparting that information to other people. You know.
Wow. Well, it's a new day with all of this technology, so
Hmm.
children are lining up to learn it, and adults are doing what they do, and we're putting it all together. Hey.
Absolutely. So it's like, what are the next steps? What's the next steps that you suggest at your age, and the purpose of why you wanted to come on the show today?
Well, the next steps are always reaching out to connect. And, I'm thankful for the $1 Million March dot us
Yes.
site, because it's still there after 3.5 years. And so you could go to the Get Involved tab and just leave your name, email address, and a comment.
Mm-hmm.
We'll connect with you that way. Or you can go to, let's see, $1 Million March.us.
Yes, I'm going there.
And I think there's some other, yeah,
Resources.
but mainly the Get Involved one is enough. That
Hmm.
at least get them
Okay,
involved with reaching out. And then if they need to see some other information, they can just click on other stuff.
got you.
That's
Okay, there it
the next
is.
step, just reaching out to somewhat register that you're interested in getting involved. And, what are your key things that you actually are seeking to do? What do you want to do, and
Mm-hmm.
what do you want to solve? What do you have that you're working with your tools and gifts and talents?
Mhm.
It's just a little bio, and we're just ready to really mobilize our own communities. So we have 10 cities right now that we're working with a group of people. So just contact us, see what city you're in, and maybe we can connect you to some people that's close by, or help you put your own group together there in your city. Flow
Abs-
City Family Love Festival, bringing our families together. We have our MCT Faith Based Collective. So it's really about engaging our communities through faith and the power of love, and bringing
nice.
families together to exemplify it all, because that's how God moves through the family.
And it's so sad. I just seen that on Instagram today. They were there's a picture of a large family, and they were saying that unfortunately their reunion is not going to look like that this year because so many people have family quarrels and they're not getting along, and some of the older people have passed on. And how sad is that? Like it's a total breakdown, and whoever shared it, must have, of course, really enjoyed the family reunions. Yeah. And they had their t-shirts on, what I mean? The
Wow.
same t-shirt. Yeah. So they really had, it really was a true thing, from back in the day. People used to really take that. I mean, it's still a lot of people that do, but um for the most part, I don't even know anybody that goes to family reunions. I haven't even heard of. I don't know anybody personally that
Well,
has went to a
no,
family reunion in years.
well, we gotta get ready. We have one every year with the Davis family in Louisiana, first Sunday.
Nice,
But
nice.
just
Do you go every year? Is it
shucks.
every year or every 5 years?
Well, no, it's actually every year, and no, I don't go every year. It's been a long time since I've been,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely need to go this year. So I plan to go. So you asked me, am I going to be traveling again? That would be where I would go. First Sunday in
Nice.
August, Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
family reunion.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's pretty neat. So it's like one of those things, like if people that or just anybody in general, because I know when we used to do Facebook Live every day, we had a large audience, or we had an average of 400 people, and then we wind up with somebody that was sending us money because he really just enjoyed watching, every time we came on because it was just so funny to him and it was so real, and he knew it wasn't scripted and everything. And you could tell he's an older guy because he scribbled. The check was always scribbled.
She
I
fun.
mean, it wasn't scribbled, but I mean,
He's the older guy. The check
yes,
scribble.
yes, and yeah, it was a shaky hand.
Funny.
Um, mm, yeah, but seriously
Well,
though,
you know what? I don't know about going Facebook Live again, but we do need to definitely get that 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days a week. So we need to put some time in there. So I welcome, anytime you're available.
yes. Absolutely. Yeah, because I know it right now, yeah, because some people just eat, regardless if they laughed at or laugh with, it was definitely an outlet, for many people to check it out. So, but today was very serious. The tone was uh, very solemn, that it was impactful, and I would say, especially for people that's looking for sincere people to just share their hearts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Time it is.
yeah. And you said that's what time it is. Absolutely. Well, thank you so very much once again for this stopping by. Absolutely. But I think that's what's neat. Like you said, you do Monday motivation. Every day of the week, you have something to do. And now that you're back home that you thought it would be best to gain clarity and share that information. So I'm glad you called,
Mm.
and thank you so much. Absolutely. Is there something else that you want to share before we conclude the podcast?
No, just thank you again.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you. All
Okay.
right. So until next time, everybody. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can leave a comment in the comments area, or you can go to Facebook if you're watching on YouTube and type in my name and inbox me there, or Instagram. Go to work, and I will put that here as well. So until next time, everybody. Have a great time. And just so it's there before I go. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you once again, Crystal. It's always neat to uh, hear what you have to say because it's intriguing, it's enlightening, and it's inspirational too at times too. I'm not gonna say all the time. I'm gonna keep it 100,
You
but
fun.
absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah. So this is cool. So
Mm.
thank you once again. All right.
You're welcome, dear.
All right. So
Continue on, and we'll speak again. We'll do another one.
okay. All right. Have a great time.
Good night.
A good night.